Over the past couple of days, during our series of features on First Nations and natural resources, we've spoken about opportunities for First Nation business in the resource sector and the bounty of partnership possibilities. But a recent Supreme Court of Canada decision has recently changed the playing field for First Nations into the future.
Partnerships between licensees and First Nations are commonplace in the forest industry, and it frequently involves revenue sharing of some sort. That relationship in forestry will continue to grow and evolve into other resource-based industries. Keith's story hails from Newfoundland, Labrador, where he researches the social and economic consequences of resource development on First Nations.
Depending on where the operation is, Aboriginal communities can very often negotiate benefits agreements, which mean that they can share in the revenues through royalties, as well as through jobs and industrial employment. And there are lots of good examples of that. In other cases, somewhat less success, but there are opportunities for sure.
A recent decision from the Supreme Court of Canada has changed the landscape considerably, giving title to 1,700 square kilometres of land west of Williams Lake, adding the title holders have a right to the benefits associated with the land, to use, enjoy it, and profit from its economic development.
Whether it's just direct revenue payment or access to taxation, whether through the whether it's taxes through LNG development or stumpage or what have you. I think that's going to be more of the norm, but that yet needs to be negotiated, and the willingness to negotiate that is going to see some stonewalling from the provincial government, but I really think that's the way we have to go.
Regardless of the Supreme Court ruling, the Tahltan First Nation has been very business savvy, especially in the mining and mineral exploration sectors. The Chilcotin ruling levels the playing field.
With the new decisions that have come down to the courts that has given us a little bit more of a leverage to basically have a little more authority around how resources have been developed in our nation and how we benefit from it. And to me, it's a good change. And so instead of taking handouts, our communities are actually going to be able to benefit from what comes out of our land.
However, the court declared that title is not absolute, meaning economic development can still proceed on land where title is established as long as one of two conditions are met. Economic development on land where the title is established has to have the consent of First Nations. Failing that, the government must make the case that development is pressing and substantial and meet its fiduciary duty to the Aboriginal groups. All the same, the decision has created a brave new world for First Nations.
We've talked to many of the provincial government and federal government people since June 26, and there's definite change in their tone in terms of what's negotiable, what kind of numbers we're looking at, and I think post Chilcotin, it's either that negotiate or it's going to be in the cards.
But with opportunities for revenue sharing, business and partnerships, there are still some challenges facing First Nations, perhaps limiting those options. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.